I warned my wife, if you take him to our beach house, we're finished. She went anyway. My name is Mark. I was sitting on our deck watching the sunset, my hands steady, surprisingly steady as I typed out the text. 3 months ago they would have been shaking, trembling with rage and heartbreak. Emma, I typed. If you go to the beach house with Daniel this weekend, we're done. I mean it this time. Her response came in 47 seconds. I'd been counting. You're being paranoid again, Mark. I told you it's a work trip. The whole marketing team is going. I looked at my phone. Then I looked at Daniel Chen's wife, Sarah, sitting in our living room. She was feeding their 6-month-old daughter, Maya, while their 8-year-old son, Tyler, played with Legos on the floor. Daniel's parents were in the kitchen making tea. His sister had just arrived with her husband. You're right, I texted back. I'm sorry. Have fun. Sarah met my eyes. She didn't smile. Neither did I. The trap was set. I'd been married to Emma for 9 years when I found the hotel receipt. January 14, 2025. Our anniversary weekend. The Fairmont downtown. $480. I found it in her gym bag. The date showed January 12th, our actual anniversary. While I'd been home alone with takeout. I didn't confront her. Instead, I paid attention. Emma was a senior marketing director at Cascade Tech Solutions. Daniel Chen was her VP, 42, Stanford MBA, married with 2 kids. I'd met him twice at company events. The kind of man who talks constantly about his family while planning exactly how to destroy it. February brought more red flags. She changed her gym time, kept her phone locked, bought lingerie that never appeared in our bedroom. I started documenting everything. Times, mileage, credit card charges. The patterns were undeniable. You seem distant, I told her one night. Just stressed with the product launch. Daniel's been pushing the team hard. Daniel, she said his name like it was an inevitability. The next morning I called Rebecca Walsh. Rebecca Walsh was a former LAPD detective with 23 years of experience. She gave me her findings on March 3rd. 43 photographs, 12 hours of video, location data. They'd been meeting at hotels for at least 18 months. The Westin, the Hyatt, a boutique place in Kirkland that cost $600 a night. Separate arrivals, practiced routines based on their patterns. At least 18 months, Rebecca said. And there's something else. Daniel's done this before. Multiple affairs. His wife has no idea. I looked at the photos. In one, Emma was laughing as Daniel held a hotel door open for her. I need you to do something else, I said. Jennifer Park specialized in high-asset divorces. She reviewed our prenup from 2016. Standard infidelity clause, she said. If she's unfaithful, she forfeits all marital assets. That's your company stock, the beach house, the condo, about $1.6 million total. She keeps her own earnings only. What do I need to prove it? Documentation, testimonial evidence, and ideally an admission. She leaned forward. But you're planning something specific, aren't you? I told her about the beach house. About my plan. High risk, she said. But if you're sure, she made notes. I'll have everything ready. The moment you give the word, we serve her. Rebecca expanded the investigation to include Daniel. The affair had started September 2023. 16 months, 11 hotels. Emma had even charged their affair meetups as business expenses, but worse, Daniel had done this before. 2 previous affairs Sarah had never known. I met Sarah Chen at a Starbucks on March 19th. She looked terrified. I slid the folder across the table. I'm sorry. I wish I didn't have to show you this. She opened it. I watched her face change. Confusion, recognition, then something breaking. How long? 16 months that I can prove. She closed the folder carefully. I had a feeling. After Maya was born, he was so distant. But I thought it was just work stress. She laughed bitterly. He told me I was paranoid. We sat in silence. What are you going to do? She finally asked. I told her about the beach house, about Emma and Daniel planning a romantic weekend there, about my idea. Sarah's eyes changed. The grief crystallized into something harder. I want to be there, she said. The beach house had been in my family for 40 years. Emma loved it. We'd spent our honeymoon there. She didn't know I could see her deleted iCloud messages, including the one to Daniel. Can't wait for our weekend at the beach. They'd planned everything for April 12th to 14th. She told me she had a marketing retreat. He told Sarah he had a conference. I made different plans. Jennifer drafted the divorce papers. Everything ready. 18 months of evidence in a 3-inch binder. Sarah and I coordinated the ambush. Her parents, Daniel's sister Michelle, and her husband all agreed to come. Daniel's sister was particularly furious. He'd borrowed $15,000 from them, claiming Sarah needed medical treatments. That was a lie too. We scheduled arrival for 7 p.m. Friday. Emma and Daniel planned 7:30 p.m. I sent Emma my ultimatum text at 6:45 p.m., exactly as everyone gathered in the living room. The Chin family arrived in waves. Sarah with the kids at 6:30. Daniel's parents at 6:40. James, a retired engineer, looked grim. Linda held Maya, her jaw set. Michelle and Greg at 6:55. Michelle already crying. At 7:03 my phone buzzed. Emma, you're being paranoid again, Mark. I told you it's a work trip. The whole marketing team is going. At 7:04 my text, you're right. I'm sorry. Have fun. At 7:18 Rebecca texted. 2 cars approaching. 86 minutes. 9 people, 3 generations, all waiting for 2 people's lies to detonate. At 7:26, I heard the key in the lock. The door opened. Emma saw me first. She froze mid-step, her overnight bag sliding off her shoulder. Behind her, Daniel was smiling at something she just said. Then he looked up. His smile died. Mark, Emma's voice was very small. What are you? Why are you here? I live here, I said calmly. Well, my family does. This is our house, Emma. Remember? Daniel had gone completely white. He was staring past me at Sarah, at his parents, at his sister. Dad, his voice cracked. What's going on? James' chin stood up. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. You tell me, son. You told your wife you had a work conference. You told me you were too busy with work to visit this month. But here you are at a beach house with another man's wife, while your daughter is 6 months old. Emma was backing toward the door. I stepped sideways, cutting off her exit. Don't, I said quietly. We're going to have this conversation. This is insane, Emma said, but her voice was shaking. You're stalking me? You broke into my own house. I smiled, but it felt like broken glass in my mouth. Interesting legal theory. Daniel found his voice. Sarah, this isn't what it looks like. Don't. Sarah's voice cut through the room like a blade. She was crying, but she was standing. Don't you dare lie to me right now. Not in front of your parents. Not in front of your daughter. How long? Linda Chin asked. She'd stood up too, holding Maya now. How long have you been doing this to your family? Daniel opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Emma like she might save him. Emma was looking at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Mark, please. Can we talk about this privately? Why? I asked. Didn't you want this to be special? Didn't you text Daniel that you couldn't wait to have him all to yourself this weekend? Her face drained of color. You read my texts. Your iCloud. Actually, you really should use better passwords. Our wedding anniversary wasn't very secure. Michelle laughed bitterly from the kitchen. You deleted my number from his phone. Last Christmas, I tried to call him and it went to some random person. You changed his contact so I couldn't reach him. Daniel's head snapped toward her. I didn't. September 2023, I said, cutting through the noise. That's when it started. The Westin downtown, room 847. Then the Hyatt in Bellevue. The boutique hotel in Kirkland. That one was expensive, by the way. $600 a night. 11 hotels in 16 months. And that San Diego trip last July, there was no marketing conference. Emma, you were with him. You're insane. Emma whispered, but there was no conviction in it. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling. Want to see the documentation? I have Rebecca Walsh's complete surveillance report. Timestamped photographs, video footage, credit card statements, your expense reports where you claimed business dinners that were actually affair meetups, hotel keycard records, cell tower data. 18 months of evidence. The room was completely silent except for Maya's soft fussing. 18 months, Sarah repeated. Her voice was hollow. She was pregnant. I was pregnant with your daughter and you were... Sarah, please? Daniel took a step forward. Stay away from me. Sarah's voice turned to ice. Stay the hell away from me and our children. James' chin moved between them. You heard her. Sit down, Daniel. Now. Daniel sat. He looked like he was going to be sick. It was Michelle who asked the question that shattered what was left. Is this the first time? The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel, Linda said quietly. Answer your sister. It's not. I didn't. Daniel was falling apart, words tumbling out, disconnected. It was just once before this. It didn't mean anything. Who? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. Her name was Jennifer. She was a client. It was 2 years ago, just a few times. I was dealing with postpartum depression. Sarah wasn't crying anymore. Something in her had gone very still, very cold. I was drowning, and you were having an affair with a client. And before that? Michelle pressed, because I remember that project manager, the one from the 2020 acquisition. I remember how you talked about her. Daniel's face was answer enough. Emma had sunk into a chair by the door, her head in her hands. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Did you know? I asked her. Did you know he'd done this before? She looked up at me. Mascara was running down her face. He said his marriage was over. He said they were separated. That Sarah knew. I didn't know. Sarah's voice cracked. I had no idea. He told me he was working late. He told me he was traveling for business. He told me he loved me. I do love you, Daniel said desperately. Sarah, I love you and the kids. This was just, stop. James Chen's voice was quiet but absolute. You don't get to talk about love right now. You don't get to pretend this was anything but what it was. Betrayal of your wife, your children, your family, your integrity. Linda was crying silently, holding Maya close. The baby had fallen asleep against her grandmother's shoulder, oblivious to the destruction of her father's life. I handed Emma the envelope at 7:47 p.m. She took it with shaking hands. What is this? Divorce papers. You'll find everything documented inside. Given the infidelity clause in our prenuptial agreement and the evidence I have, which will absolutely hold up in court, you forfeit any claim to marital assets. That includes my company stock, this house, and the downtown condo. You keep your own earnings and anything you brought into the marriage. My lawyer estimates you're looking at about $40,000 total. Emma's hands started shaking harder. Mark, please, we can work this out. No. The word came out harder than I intended. We can't. You made your choice. Every single time you deleted a text, every time you lied about where you were, every time you put on lingerie for another man and told me you were going to the gym, you chose this. I made a mistake. For 16 months? That's not a mistake, Emma. That's a decision. She started to cry in earnest, then big, gasping sobs that might have moved me once. But I'd spent 3 months grieving this marriage while she was planning romantic weekends with someone else's husband. I was done. Sarah stood up, carefully handing Maya to Linda. She walked over to Daniel, who was sitting with his head in his hands. Look at me, she said. He looked up. I want you out of the house by tomorrow night. Take your clothes. Everything else we'll divide through lawyers. You can see the kids with supervision until we establish formal custody. If you contest any of this, I will make sure everyone at your company knows exactly what kind of man you are. Sarah, please? You told me I was paranoid. You made me think I was crazy for worrying. You held our daughter and looked me in the eyes and lied. You don't get to please me anymore. Michelle spoke up from the kitchen. That $15,000 you borrowed from us, we want it back by the end of the month, and you're not welcome at family holidays anymore. Linda added quietly. Not until you've done serious work on yourself. Maybe not even then. James just shook his head. I taught you better than this. Rebecca had filmed the entire confrontation from her car. She'd also called the process server the moment Emma and Daniel walked through the door. He arrived at 8:15 p.m. with official service of divorce papers for both couples. Daniel was served first. He didn't even read them, just held the papers limply in his hands. When Emma was served, she looked at me one last time. Was any of it real? Did you ever actually love me? Yes, I said. For 9 years I loved you completely. But the woman I loved wouldn't have done this. I'm still that person. No, you're not. The aftermath came in waves. Emma moved out by April 20th. She called 3 times that week. I didn't answer. She tried showing up at my office. Security removed her. Daniel was fired April 24th. Sarah's lawyer sent HR documentation of multiple workplace affairs. Turned out he'd been under investigation for months. 3 different complaints. Emma wasn't his first subordinate. Emma lost her job 2 weeks later. Position eliminated due to restructuring. Everyone knew the real reason. Sarah filed for divorce April 25th with primary custody. Daniel didn't contest. He couldn't. Not with the evidence. He had to sell his Tesla to pay Michelle back the $15,000 he'd borrowed under false pretenses. Both divorces were fast-tracked. Mine finalized July 1st. The prenup her father had insisted on protecting her assets now protected mine. She got her pre-marriage savings, $23,000. I kept everything else. Sarah's took until August. She got the house, primary custody, significant child support, and a restraining order. Daniel's parents stopped speaking to him. His mother sent him a 3-page email. I don't know who you've become, but he's not my son. Emma's parents called me in May apologizing. She told us you'd been controlling. We didn't know she was lying to us too. The professional fallout extended beyond just them. Cascade Tech implemented new ethics training. They also billed both Emma and Daniel for fraudulent expense reports. $12,000 for her, $23,000 for him. Neither could pay. Judgments were filed. 3 months after the beach house confrontation, Sarah texted me. Coffee? We met at the same Starbucks where this had all started. She looked different, lighter somehow, despite everything. How are the kids? I asked. Tyler asks about his dad sometimes. I tell him the truth, that daddy made bad choices and hurt people, but he's still his dad. Maya's too young to understand. She smiled sadly. I'm in therapy. They both are too. It helps. And you? Better? She took a sip of her latte. I finally feel like I can breathe. It's strange. I thought losing him would destroy me, but what was destroying me was living the lie. I understood that completely. What about you? She asked. Sold the condo, kept the beach house. I'm thinking about renting it out or maybe just burning it down. I was only half joking. Hard to enjoy a place where your marriage ended. Don't burn it, Sarah said firmly. Don't let him take that from you too. Make new memories, better ones. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Around us, people lived their normal lives, unaware that they were sitting next to two people who'd survived a specific kind of warfare. Thank you, Sarah said finally, for including us, for not letting him hide. Thank you for coming, for being brave enough to face it. She smiled. It was real this time. We're survivors, Mark. That's what we are now. I went back to the beach house alone in October. First time since April. I half expected ghosts, but the place just felt quiet. The ocean did what oceans do. Kept moving, kept crashing, kept going despite everything. I sat on the deck and watched the sunset. My phone was in my pocket, but I didn't check it. Didn't need to monitor anyone's texts. Didn't need to track locations or gather evidence. Didn't need to do anything but exist in this moment. Emma had texted me once in September from a new number I didn't have blocked yet. I'm sorry. I hope someday you can forgive me. I deleted it without responding. Forgiveness wasn't something I owed her. Maybe someday I'd get there for myself, but it wouldn't be for her. It would be so I could finally put down the weight of what she'd done. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Somewhere in Seattle, Sarah was putting her kids to bed. Somewhere else, Emma was living with the consequences of her choices. Daniel was probably doing the same in a smaller apartment with emptier weekends. And I was here, still breathing, still standing, still the owner of my own truth. My phone buzzed. Sarah had sent a photo. Tyler and Maya at the beach building a sandcastle. Tyler was grinning at the camera. Maya was covered in sand and laughing. The caption read, "First beach trip without him. We're okay. Hope you are too." I smiled and sent back a simple reply. Better than okay. And for the first time in months, that felt true. If you made it this far, you know what the comments will say. Justice served. He got what he deserved. Glad you exposed them both. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Justice doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't unbreak the trust or unknow what you learned. It just means you don't have to live the lie anymore. Was it worth it, setting up that confrontation? Orchestrating that moment of exposure? Yeah, it was. Because they don't get to control the narrative anymore. They don't get to play victim or pretend they were misunderstood. They don't get to rewrite history. I told my wife, if you go to our beach house with him, we're done. She went. I was already there waiting with his wife, kids, and family. And the truth, cold, documented, undeniable, was waiting. This story is a powerful reminder of how far people will go for love, and how far they'll fall when they betray it. What are your thoughts on Mark's plan? Was it justified? What would you have done in his situation? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear your perspective.